My start is a very well-known story down here in Australia, but perhaps less well-known around the world. My contest was the very first book that I wrote. I wrote it when I was 19, and it was rejected by every major publisher here in Sydney, Australia. And so I self-published Contest. I got a loan from the bank and printed 1,000 copies and went to bookstores by myself and said, "Hi, my name's Matthew Reilly. This is my book. Would you like to put it on the shelves?" I did that in the hope that a publisher who had maybe previously missed it would go to a bookstore, see what the books are on the shelves, see what the competition's doing, and see my book. And that's exactly what happened. A publisher from Pan Macmillan in Australia went to a store, saw Contest, bought it, read it, rang up the number on the copyright page, which is still my parents' home phone number, and she asked to speak to me. And that is how I got a publishing deal. Seven Deadly Wonders is about the hunt for the missing golden capstone, which once sat atop the Great Pyramid at Giza. And long ago it was broken up into 7 pieces and hidden in the 7 greatest monuments of the age, monuments which we now call the 7 Wonders of the Ancient World. It turns out that the pyramid is connected to a rare solar event, and so we've got to put the capstone back together. And so several countries are in a headlong race to go and find the pieces of the capstone, which means finding where the 7 ancient wonders of the world ended up, because the only one that still stands is the Great Pyramid at Giza. It becomes an issue when you've got to find the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, because people aren't even sure if they actually existed. So it's an Indiana Jones type adventure for the 21st century. To research the book, I actually went to Egypt in 2004, went to the Great Pyramid at Giza, went inside the Great Pyramid, and went inside any other pyramid I could find. Went all the way to Luxor, which gets featured in the book. There's a wonderful pylon-type structure in Luxor, which had 2 obelisks out the front, but now it only has 1. The other obelisk is in Paris, in the dead centre of Paris, in the Place de la Concorde, to which I've been, so that gave me a good excuse to do a car chase in Paris. But into Egypt, seeing the Great Pyramid, we went up to Alexandria, saw the site of the fabled lighthouse at Alexandria, another one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and even saw in Alexandria a Roman coin from 2,000 years ago which depicted the lighthouse on it. You know, as our coins today depict people like George Washington, whatever, for the lighthouse, that's what the Romans did. What I discovered in my research, I'd been long interested in the 7 wonders of the ancient world. I discovered that you could connect all 7 of the wonders in some way to Alexander the Great. Technically, he was actually dead by the time the last 2 wonders, the Colossus of Rhodes and the lighthouse, were built. But then I discovered that both of those 2 wonders were built at the behest of Ptolemy I, who was Alexander the Great's best friend and general, and he became the pharaoh of Egypt. So, yeah, I looked into Alexander the Great's life, and I felt if I could connect him to this capstone, I could portray the greatness that goes with it. I mean, Alexander ruled the world of his day, and I've connected that with the capstone of the pyramid and the power that it can give. As a kid, I was absolutely enthralled by Raiders of the Lost Ark. In particular, the opening scene where Indiana Jones negotiates the old Chachapoyan temple filled with booby traps. And I'd long thought, I want to see that sort of adventure again, this sort of giant global romp with booby traps and something bigger. I always felt that with Indiana Jones, the booby traps were small. Why couldn't you do something with booby traps the size of basketball courts or football fields and really have them big? And the story sort of percolated. I had wanted to write about the 7 ancient wonders. I'd never seen a thriller talk about them in detail. And then I thought, once I discovered this capstone, which once sat atop the most famous building in all of the world, the Great Pyramid at Giza, I suddenly had a hook to hang my story onto. And it was only then, when I discovered that the Great Pyramid stands 9 feet shorter than it should, that I had the connection, that hook to build a story on. So I'd wanted to do a story on the wonders for a long time, but you have to sort of bide your time and wait for the right moment to come.